Crikey, it's more Diana. Welcome back. Enjoy this one. It's getting close, really close. It needs to as well. Movember's coming on quite nicely as well. Look at that. I'm getting some of the door furniture handles, seat handles, fork handles, etc., etc., sorted out for my dad's car. Now, the majority of the black work on this car is actually in fairly good order. So I've not bothered with. So, for instance, I've not bothered with getting all of these sorted out because they're all okay. Happy enough with those. However, one of the pull handles had been just rattle canned. I think it's an original, very early one because it's painted rather than powder coated. Sorry, plastic coated. This is plastic coat. This is what it looks like. It just falls off, and underneath you end up with powder on the aluminium surface. So that one was painted, and it all looked a bit tatty. So I've taken all that off. Both seats, and there's the powder in there. You see, that's the powder you end up with. It's like a talcum powder. Don't use it around your sack or anything like that. Pair of seat handles, one door handle, which I've taken back to bare aluminium, because while it's all right on the other side, I'll just rattle can that bit. What we've basically got here is we've got the original, that's the original kind of paint, plastic coat, whatever that Land Rover would have put on. Then we've got this nasty yellow primer, and then we've got a top coat. And what's basically happened throughout, in fact, this is a good example, I'll show you the top tailgate handle. What's happened throughout is the black paint has just lifted off, and then you can see the dots where the yellow primer is, which is why I'm painting all these things again. I haven't got my grip blaster here in this workshop, so I thought, well, I'll just go over it, and I'm just sanding the paint off, but quite laborious. And while I could kind of just waft more paint over it, so you can see the scratches all over this piece here. So I thought, well, I'll take it back to bare aluminium. That's kind of ready for a zinc coat, an etch primer, and then I'll put a top coat on it. And then top coat might be brushed out of the Rust-Oleum, or it might be rattle canned out of the Hammerite. I don't know. No need to prime or undercoat. Well, in my experience, generally with aluminium, yes, you do need to prime. So all of these are going to get an etch, acid etch prime first of all, which should be up here. That's a zinc weld, that's a zinc primer. I don't know what I've done with it. I'll show you the acid etch that I put on before I put it on. It's just a rattle can of acid etch, and it provides quite a sticky bond for the paint to stick to the bare aluminium. Aluminium is not an easy product to have paint stick to. There you go. I could be talking complete bollocks, but that's just my experience. And then Dad's new Tex mirror. You can see the paint's all just flaked off it. So that'll need something doing to it as well. God's sake. Because they didn't put any etch primer on it, first of all, they just rattle canned it. And that's what happens, I think. That's stainless, obviously. Right. Onwards. Having a mess around with headlight units. So there's one I've kind of got back together again, and I'll do the other one and show you what it is I'm doing. Oh yes. So these early cars that had the three-part gorilla across the front of the car, they have a different mechanism for fixing the headlights in. It is possible to go for the other mechanism, which is what I did on Project Bob, but these ones actually utilise, if I can find the fucking thing, these rings. Okay, and the headlight actually sits in these rings. I did mark top on this somewhere. Might have lost that then. But basically it needs to go in that way round, because you've got adjusting holes there and there, adjusters there and there. I'm taking them out because I painted it, and I'll pop those back in again. Plastic luggies. And then to depending on which way round we decide we're going to put this thing, because I've got a feeling, yes, so we then have to look at the headlight unit itself, and on the back of the headlight unit we've got these lugs. Okay, so I want top and top really. So if I put that at top, it's not right, so I have to rotate it around. When I say it's not right, the things that I've just popped in and the holes on the front plate weren't lined up. And basically what I've got now is top and top, so it goes in like that, top. Yeah, arrow pointing upwards. Now, these are the headlight units that I took off the car. Yeah, these went on a couple of years ago. I'm not impressed. Autopal, made in India, and basically what's happened is water has settled on the base down here. I managed to get through this seal here, which has then corroded the very, 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 very cheap reflection backing material on the back there. So yeah, that wasn't a load of cop, was it? So with my dad's permission, I went for a set of these. Truckmaster Ring Automotive Complex Surface Light Unit. Supposed to be 25% brighter. E approved. Low beam, high beam, H4. It says not included, but they are. And a small side light bulb as well, which it says is not included, but it is. When I bought these, sorry, it is when I bought these from Famous Four. Famous Four are lobbing them in the box, I guess. Bulbs. Boxy box face can go down there. Now basically the difference with these headlight units from the traditional is, if I can get it open, you've got a completely flat surface on the outside. That's flat. So the actual reflector is on the back. It's on the back of the unit. I think they're quite neat. I do think they're quite neat, if I say so myself. Now, I can't remember which way around was top. So all of these things have exactly the same lugs on the back there, which fit into these holes here. So we pop that in there like that. I line it up. Yeah, so basically these and those line up, top and top lines up. That's fantastic. That is outstanding. That is brilliant. Now I just need to pop that there for a second. I need to get some tools. Because I've taken these things apart and they were, the original screws were serviceable, but to be honest, they were a bit on the rusty side. Now on this I did actually mark top. There we are. It just makes life just a little bit quicker. And that needs to go in there. And that goes in there. And then we end up with this ring on the outside, which literally just screws the headlight unit in tight to the to this ring. So the headlight unit is fixed onto the ring. And the ring then becomes part of the adjustment mechanism. And we'll go into that as well, because that causes a faff. And I can see where someone had worked on this car before, not me. I had put the headlights on this actually. No, maybe it was Bob's headlights that there was a mess on them. No, because it didn't have headlights. I don't know what I'm talking about now. It happens. Sunday afternoon. I've just de-rusted this ring and given it a quick clean up. De-rusted, clean up, de-rust, and then lob some paint on it, because obviously it's in the firing line for a lot of the crap that comes up from the road. Now it's tight in there. I've got a bit of a wiggle on the headlight here. Just bend this lip up a little bit, Richard, couldn't you? That would make life a little bit easier. What has happened? Just bend each of these up just a smeg. And then top. That might just work actually, folk. Screwing back in now. Better. That works. So there, the fault lay within the metal ring, the Range Rover part, rather than the headlight units. How about that? No need for bodges at all. Beautiful. Just fucking beautiful. Now, that's the headlights in its cage. Okay. Beautiful. Done. That's nice. Right, what we need to do now is to mount it onto this. Okay. And basically what you get originally was big long screws, lumps of rubber, bits that have been bodged over the years, little kind of sealing rings, bits of silicone, all sorts of odds and sods end up in there. And to be honest, I say bollocks to all of that, and I get a nice compression spring. Heretic! I'll hear you screaming at your televisions or computers before you write a strongly worded letter to your MP. There's one more thing we need to add to the headlight, and that's the pivot point. So the pivot point on these goes into that lug there. There's a little U-shaped lump of nylon. Basically what it does is it goes into the back of the headlight body and screws onto the ring. It's nylon, so it's flexible. Now, while that's in there, I can adjust the headlight. You can see the headlight is moving this way. And then it's moving down and up. Very nice. Now, the good news is that the headlight kind of stays in position. But if you need to adjust it, it's got a spring in there. That screw's not the best one up there, is it? I'll change that one for this one. But yeah, that's kind of what I do with these. Let me just change this screw because I'm really not happy with that one. It's just rusty. Try and clean it up with a bit of steel wool first of all. Steel wool does so much. It fired straight up. I'm just bedding the cam in, because we've got a new cam in here. One of the tappets is noisy. I'll see what it's like in a couple of minutes. I'll come back here because it's quieter. I haven't tuned the carbs. I've literally just roughly sensed the ignition timing. Pretty good, isn't it? I have to do this for about 15-20 minutes. Keeping an eye on the fuel temperature, sorry, the oil temperature. What are you talking about, Richard? The water temperature. It's just starting to go up now. Drive's okay. I mean, obviously I need to tune the carbs, but they're just in the baseline at the moment. So set a 2000 RPM high idle. Take the that's just the strobe. Pop that over here. After this as well, I'm inclined to re-torque the cylinder heads. And all I've done here is just wedged half-inch bar in between the in the throttle there. 2000 RPM, 15 minutes. Back seat looks nicer, doesn't it? Headlighting's in. It needs replacing really, because the back end of the headlighting is just completely disintegrated, as you see, and I can't do anything with it, so it is what it is. But this is all still needs to do the bottoms of the doors. Smell of anything. We're running a little bit on the lean side. Again, just keeping an eye on the water temperature. Gauge is working. Let's take that out for a second. If you one tappet, maybe two. I've changed the shims. Because I had it shimmed to, well, is that over 2000 RPM now? No, I had it shimmed so it was 60 to 65,000, which is better than 120. But we'll see. I'll just double check it when I take the rocket covers off in order to check the cylinder head bolts. I got half my workshop back. Massive clear out required. And I can start on that again. Ever ignition on Diana today. So I've been making up new connectors that look a little bit less nasty, crimped on shite, like these things down here. Just crimped on. 3 of them just fell off. So the signal wire that goes back to the ignition amplifier fell off. And okay, so that fell off. One of the wires here fell off on the feed. I've taken a feed from the main loom rather than taking it from somewhere through on the dashboard. It was a weird wiring way to set it all up, and then this cable here, which literally extends the amplifier away from the side of the distributor body, and the only reason we haven't got it on the distributor body is because there's just enough room down there with it all next door to the power steering, the old style power steering pump. So having made all these connections up again, and this, no, there's a couple that fell off. They've not been cut off, they fell off. Look, crimped terminal, nothing in there, bastard. And then it was all kind of like, you know, held together with plasticine or blue tack or something, I don't know. Anyway, I thought, well, we've got to be able to improve on this. So what I've done is I've made up new connections. They're 2.8mm connections, spade terminals, onto the ignition amplifier, and I'll make this waterproof. Now what I've basically done here is I've snipped the ends off the terminals here so they go in and they hold in nice and tight. So we're using the amplifier, the coil, the amplifier, the coil, and a slave distributor, just to check we're getting a half decent spark. And there's my little tester. Oh, I'd say that's quite healthy. That's jumping a good centimetre. It's not yellow, it's a nice blue colour. That's pretty good actually. So now I know this works, I can lob it all back in again. Had I had an issue with that amplifier, then I might have been inclined to put something a bit different than the 35DLM8 in. It's one of these distributors. 35DLM8 is what's in there. As long as it works really. In all honesty. And one thing I've not checked on this is the vacuum advance. So all I do with this, we'll plug it back in again because I unplugged it because I was probably checking the ignition timing. Take this end off and breathe through it. That's working. I I can't breathe through it, so therefore I can feel it moving the base plate as well. Right. Right, I better disconnect the battery because the ignition's on at the moment, because obviously I'm testing all of the ignition circuits and everything, which means the fuel pump's on and running. Right, and I've retorqued the cylinder heads, and we'll see if that tappet's gone quiet after our testing yesterday. And yeah, as you were. As if just to prove the fucking point, I thought while I've got all this rig set up, I would actually just go through and test all of the other amplifiers I've got here. And this is the distributor doctor one, which wasn't responding. And I thought, why is it not responding? Look of despair. Fuck's sake. I'm going to replace all this wiring around here. It's just cag. So having made up this little mini loom here, which changes colour halfway through by the looks of things as well. I hadn't even noticed that. White at one end, red and green at the other, so fuck knows, in all honesty. I'll go unbind this and we'll make it up properly. Well, I've got it down to one tappet now. I've been over the exhaust manifold. Sometimes exhaust manifolds can sound, or blowing exhaust manifolds can go click, 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 click. There's nothing blowing out down here. I've used the chat to identify that the problem is coming from the back end of this bank. And it's already smoothing out. It might just be that that hydraulic tappet just needs to bed in. I'm inclined to actually just let it calm down. Obviously we are cold at the moment, so there's barely any choke on this. Literally just started it up. Probably could do with reversing this out of the, just so it's out, because otherwise I'm going to end up gassing myself. You can hear it's settling down. I just think it's a really slow to prime hydraulic tappet. It's getting there though, isn't it? Bear in mind, I've not fully set up these carbs yet. Took my finger out of the picture. Right, I'm going to go through just set up these carbs. Obviously all the wiring and everything's working down here that I put on. I might put a little bit of heat sleeving around this wiring here, just to protect it. The only other thing I've done is I've replaced all of the rigid hoses that sit between the two carburetors. This stuff. I'm inclined to suggest this stuff is pretty original, and the reason I did this really is because of the risks of ethanol fuel, etc, 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 etc. While they're fairly compliant, I'll just replace them with some ethanol friendly hose, so that lot can go in there. I'll get on with tuning this up. Running sweaty enough though. Just that tick. The bastard probably just needs to run up down the road. Right, apart from clack, 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 just lifting the piston up. A little bit on the lean side. About the same. Synchrometer. 10. 14. Right, let's turn this one up a little bit. I'm going to need to, let's put you on the tripod because I need two hands to do this. The electric fan to kick to. Right, okay, so we've got 14 on there. I can stick too high. What do you think? Let's get down to 700. $750. Right, the speed 750. Tighten these nuts up on the back of it. Maybe don't have to be resting on the exhaust. Oh, made a tough thing, these. They're balanced. Let them cool down a bit because I'm going to have to. I think what I'm going to do is remove the shims that I put in there on the left bank, on the driver's side bank I should say, not the left bank, the driver's side bank, right bank I think it should be. And I will remove the shims and see if the problem goes away, and if it don't go away then I've got a sticky hydraulic tappet, which is a fucking ball's ache. Because it's either an Italian tune-up or it's inlet manifold valley gasket out in order to change it. Unfortunately, we'll try taking all the shim, or go down to the next size down on the shims and see what happens. It's one tappet and it's down this side. But other than that, carbs are tuned up nicely. Ignition's all good. Finish me coffee while it's cooling down. Right, remove the 30 thou shim out of the driver's side right bank and put 15 thou shims in. Moment of truth. Are we ready? Are we ready? Bastard! Right, you can stand there. Can you see? I don't care. You can see. That was good. definitely loudest around 6 and 8. That's smooth, smooth. That's smooth, 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 smooth. That's a bit clacky. That's smooth. A little bit clacky. Really clacky. That's definitely around the back end of that cylinder head. Well, isn't that just a pain in the balls, eh? Well, I'm going to research my options. I mean, to my mind, it doesn't seem to run as smoothly as it did with the original shims in it. So, yeah, I mean, that's... I suppose I could take the shims out altogether. And effectively what that's going to do is hold the valve open slightly, but it wasn't really doing that before, but it was outside tolerances. Turn it on. Stressing noise. Oh, you naughty car. Right, so basically what's happened. It was running smoothly before I put the new cam and followers in. I found that oh hello, got a bit of a coolant leak down here. What's leaking? One of these top hoses is leaking. It looks like, yeah, that one's leaking there. Get those tightened up. That's probably why it's not going into pressure. Look, it's cooled down. I was just seeing a very, very slight steam coming off here. It's one of these hoses we're leaking from. I'll double check which one it is. Probably this one because I can turn it. Look at that. I suspect it's that one. You ham-fisted gibbon, Richard. Yeah, so basically it ran on the old cam, on the old followers, but the hydraulic lifter preload was out of tolerance. I can't do this clip up any tighter. What the fuck's going on with that? I'll wait till that's cooled down a little bit. Well, there's no pressure in it. I'm sorry, I've been distracted here by a Jubilee clip because I'm irritated that thing's still clacking away like a good one. So basically, because the hydraulic tappets were out of tolerance, I then put the shims on the pedestals. Capiche? Understood? Yes, I think so. Capiche is probably the wrong word for it completely. So put the hydraulic tappet kind of shims in there, and then found that it was going clackety clackety clack. So then I changed for a different shim, and it's still going clackety clackety clack. If anything, it's probably slightly worse than it was before. I'll do a bit of research tonight before I take it all apart. Oh, what a pain in the arse. It basically just means the whole fucking inlet's got to cut, drain the cooling system, pull the inlet out. Oh, fucking thing. Something's not primed. I don't know how I'm going to confirm which hydraulic tappet it is though that hasn't primed. Move away from the problem, Richard. Move away from the problem, and then you can look at the engine instead. Much more fun. That's not fair, is it? This clip won't go up anymore, so it can come off altogether, and a new one can go on. Right, I'm going to have a think about what to do next on this. It might just be, as I said, that was definitely the one that was leaking. It might just be that an Italian tune-up, quick run down the M40 and back, will fix it, but the car's out of MOT at the moment. MOT exempt, I know. I could always just take it out for a good old blast and see if it clears its tubes through. That might be the next thing to do. I'll research it and I'll come back to you and let you know. Disappointment. It happens.